What if every human on Earth jumped at the same time? Let's imagine this for a moment. More than 8 billion people, from every corner of the planet, agreeing to do something together for once. No fighting, no arguing, just one synchronized jump. We pick a date, a time, maybe coordinate through a massive Global Jump Day app. Everyone counts down. 3, 2, 1, jump. So, what actually happens? Well, first, let's figure out how much humanity weighs. The average person weighs about 62 kilograms. Multiply that by 8 billion people, and we get roughly 500 billion kilograms. That sounds like a lot. But compared to Earth's mass, about 6*10 superscript 2 kilograms, that's like comparing a grain of sand to a mountain. If you gathered all humans in one place, we'd make up less than 0.1% of the planet's total weight. So if everyone jumped at once, the Earth wouldn't even notice. But let's not give up yet. Maybe we can still make something interesting happen. Suppose everyone stood shoulder to shoulder, covering a small country. If you squeezed all of humanity together, you could fit everyone inside a city about the size of Los Angeles. So now we have a dense, jumping blob of humanity, a world record level crowd. On the count of 3, everyone bends their knees and leaps. For a fraction of a second, the entire planet's surface becomes eerily quiet. Every human foot leaves the ground. Birds probably panic. The sudden silence might feel dramatic. But then, just as dramatically, 8 billion people come crashing back down at almost the same time. Now things get messy. The collective landing produces an enormous amount of sound, the loudest synchronized thud in history. The ground shakes, but only locally. Seismographs might pick it up as a tiny blip, roughly equivalent to a small earthquake. If everyone jumped in one place, like a global rock concert, we might see a magnitude 4 tremor. Enough to rattle windows nearby, but not enough to move tectonic plates. So no, we wouldn't knock Earth out of its orbit. But we could cause some chaos. Millions of ankles twisted. Countless people falling onto each other. The crowd density alone would make it nearly impossible to breathe, let alone survive the landing. Humanity's first attempt at unity would end with a lot of hospital visits. Alright, maybe we shouldn't all stand together. What if everyone stayed where they are, people in New York, Beijing, Nairobi, and Buenos Aires, and jumped at exactly the same time? The jumps wouldn't be synchronized perfectly, because of time zones and the speed of communication, but let's assume the timing was perfect. Would the collective push be enough to nudge the Earth? When we jump, we push down on the Earth, and the Earth pushes us up. That's Newton's third law. Theoretically, when everyone jumps, we push the Earth ever so slightly in the opposite direction. But here's the catch: when we land, we push it right back. The two effects cancel each other perfectly. So, the Earth wiggles for a millisecond and goes back to normal as if nothing happened. Still, let's calculate it. The combined momentum from all humans jumping might move Earth by less than the width of a single hydrogen atom. That's not great if your goal is to shift a planet. To put it another way, even if everyone on Earth jumped every second for a year, Earth's orbit would stay completely unchanged. We'd just get very tired and probably ruin our knees. But while Earth wouldn't move, we might still change our own environment. 8 billion people jumping would release a huge amount of energy into the atmosphere. A wave of air pressure would ripple around the globe, kind of like a global sound wave. It wouldn't destroy anything, but sensitive instruments might detect a brief pulse in the atmosphere. For a moment, we'd create a measurable global footprint, humanity's signature jump wave. Now let's add a little absurdity. What if everyone coordinated their jump in the same direction, say eastward, hoping to spin the planet faster? The Earth rotates at about 1,670 kilometers per hour at the equator. Even if every human leapt eastward with all their strength, the planet's speed would change by roughly 1/10000000%. Congratulations! We just made the tiniest adjustment to the length of the day, about 1/1000th of a nanosecond shorter. If you wanted to actually change Earth's spin, you need something much bigger. Like everyone launching rockets at once. But even then, we'd barely scratch the surface. The planet is simply too massive, and we're just tiny biological passengers clinging to it. However, there's something poetic about this idea. Imagine that one moment, 8 billion people united, not by war or competition, but by a single, harmless act. The ground trembling slightly beneath billions of feet. A small, temporary mark on the planet, not physical, but symbolic. After the jump, people might laugh, cheer, or shrug. Scientists would publish fun graphs showing the little blip on seismographs. News headlines would exaggerate. Earth moved by humanity's jump! Conspiracy theories would follow. And memes. So many memes. And then, a day later, everything would go back to normal. The tides wouldn't change. The orbit wouldn't budge. The sun would rise and set just like before. But maybe, just maybe, the memory of everyone doing something together would linger. For a brief instant, the entire species acted in unison, and even though it didn't change the world physically, it might remind us how powerful we could be if we ever really jumped in the same direction for something that mattered. So, what if every human on Earth jumped at the same time? The planet wouldn't notice, but maybe humanity would. The world stays still, but hearts move together.